Have you ever wondered what would happen if the world's two biggest superpowers went head-to-head in a winner-takes-all showdown? That's exactly what happened in the ancient world, a titanic struggle that decided the fate of Western civilization. Today, we read diving deep into one of history's most pivotal moments, the fall of Carthage and what it truly meant for the rise of Rome. This wasn't just a battle. It was the end of an era and the dawn of a new one. Before Rome was an empire, it had a rival and equal, and in many ways, a superior. That rival was Carthage, a mighty maritime power based in modern-day Tunisia. For over a century, these two titans clashed in a series of conflicts known as the Punic Wars. This was a rivalry born of ambition, a fight for control over the sparkling, resource Mediterranean Sea. Carthage, with its vast trade network, powerful navy, and legendary generals like Hannibal, posed the single greatest threat Rome would ever face. The First Punic War was a grueling, 23-year naval struggle over Sicily. Rome, a land-based power, had to build a navy from scratch to even compete. They reverse-engineered a captured Carthaginian ship and, through sheer grit and innovation, eventually won. But the peace was fragile. The Second Punic War is the stuff of legend. This is where Hannibal Barca enters the scene, a military genius who swore an oath as a child to be an enemy of Rome for life. His audacious plan to march war elephants over the Alps into Italy is one of the most famous military feats in history. For 15 years, Hannibal terrorized the Italian peninsula, handing Rome one devastating defeat after another. Most famously, at the Battle of Cannae, where he annihilated a massive Roman army. Rome was on its knees, its very survival hanging by a thread. But Rome didn't break. It adapted. This is where the genius of Rome truly shines. Instead of surrendering, they learned from their enemy. Led by Scipio Africanus, they took the fight to Carthage's home turf in North Africa, forcing Hannibal to return to defend his city. At the Battle of Zama, Scipio used Hannibal's own tactics against him, securing a decisive victory for Rome. Carthage was defeated, stripped of its territories, its navy, and forced to pay a crippling indemnity. It was humbled, but it was still there. For 50 years, a tense peace held. Carthage, ever the resilient merchant city, began to recover economically. But in Rome, the fear of a resurgent Carthage festered. One senator, Cato the Elder, became obsessed. He ended every speech, no matter the topic, with the same chilling phrase: Carthago delenda est. Carthage must be destroyed. This constant drumbeat of fear and vengeance eventually pushed Rome to act. The Third Punic War wasn't really a war. It was an extermination. Rome laid siege to the great city of Carthage. For 3 long years, the Carthaginians held out with desperate courage, but the outcome was never in doubt. In 146 BC, Roman soldiers breached the walls. What followed was a week of brutal street-by-street fighting and systematic destruction. The city was burned to the ground, its buildings torn down, and legend says the Romans even sowed the fields with salt to ensure nothing would ever grow there again. Carthage, the vibrant heart of a powerful civilization, was wiped from the face of the earth. So, what did this cataclysmic event really mean? First and foremost, the destruction of Carthage eliminated Rome's only significant rival in the Mediterranean. With Carthage gone, the sea truly became mare nostrum, our sea. Rome was now the undisputed master of the Western Mediterranean, a hyperpower with no peer. This set the stage for its expansion eastward, eventually conquering Greece, Egypt, and the entire Hellenistic world. The Roman Republic was on its way to becoming the Roman Empire. The fall of Carthage also had a profound economic impact. Rome seized control of North Africa's fertile lands, which became the breadbasket of the Republic, supplying vast quantities of grain to feed its growing population and armies. This influx of wealth and resources fueled Rome's economic engine, funding further conquests and massive public works projects. The spoils of war enriched the Roman elite, but also widened the gap between the rich and poor, sowing the seeds of social conflict that would later plague the Republic. Militarily, the Punic Wars were a crucible that forged the Roman army into the most effective fighting force in the ancient world. They learned invaluable lessons in strategy, logistics, and naval warfare from their Carthaginian adversaries. The need to defeat Hannibal forced them to innovate, creating a more flexible and adaptable military command structure. This battle-hardened legionary system would be the tool Rome used to build its empire. Interestingly, even in destruction, Carthage influenced Rome. The Romans, despite their hatred, respected Carthaginian expertise. They studied Carthaginian agricultural techniques and, as mentioned, their naval designs and military tactics. It's a classic case of learning from your vanquished foe. The ghost of Carthage helped shape the empire that replaced it. Perhaps the most profound consequence was the civilizational shift. Before the Punic Wars, the centers of power and culture were spread across the Mediterranean, with significant hubs in North Africa and the Near East. Carthage was the torchbearer of an ancient Phoenician legacy. Its destruction marked a decisive shift in the center of gravity of civilization from the southern and eastern Mediterranean to Europe. The future would be written in Latin, not Punic. The Roman European model of law, governance, and culture would become the foundation for Western civilization, a direct result of this victory. The legacy of Carthage's fall echoes through history, offering a timeless lesson in power dynamics. It shows how fear can drive a superpower to utterly annihilate a rival. How victory can transform a nation, and how the fall of one power directly leads to the rise of another. The story of Rome and Carthage is more than just ancient history. It's a stark reminder of the brutal calculus of power and the thin line between greatness and oblivion. The world we live in today was fundamentally shaped in the fires that consumed Carthage. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button. Subscribe for more deep dives into history. And let me know in the comments what historical event you'd like to explore next. Until next time, stay curious.